Hey guys, Cameron over here at Copendero. We've got Bob Dana over here. He's our territory manager for Leupold. He is an avid hunter and PRS shooter. I also have Aaron Vezerak next to me as well. He's our Springfield territory manager. He is a pistol competition shooter and a avid hunter as well. We're offering a package over here at Copendero. If you purchase one of our packages right here, you are eligible to do one of our long-range hunting classes. Hey Bob, can you tell us a little bit about our class that we're offering?
Sure. This long range hunting thing over the past couple of years has really gotten pretty popular, right? And there's a lot of questions as to the right equipment, as to what it really takes to make a distant shot. When you start getting into extreme ballistics with distance, guys that go through and shoot, like you talked about the PRS thing just a second ago, a precision rifle shooter or a military sniper goes through and they use what's called a kestrel. They're running active ballistics on the fly at that moment every second. As hunters, as a beginning hunter, understanding ballistics, understanding long-range binos, rangefinders, and putting that all together to make one shot can be very difficult. So our goal at Leupold, we came out with what we call the Leupold CDS dial. It stands for Custom Dial System. And the idea is that instead of a shooter trying to worry about first focal plane, second focal plane, mil, MOA, all that type of stuff, what we did is we came up with some criteria or factors that we can take from a precision rifle system and put that into what we call a custom dial. So when you purchase a Leupold scope, that scope can show up either with a dial that is in mil or MOA, depending on what you choose to buy, right? Well, when you're sitting there with your son, your wife, or yourself, and you range a deer at 450 yards, and you go into the kestrel and it says, "Oh, I need to come up 5.6 mils to go through and make that type of shot," instead of worrying about what mils means and what that dial really has to do, we tried to simplify it for you so that when you get the distance from your rangefinder and it says 450 yards, the dial literally, instead of mil or MOA, is in yardage. So when you range your deer and it says 450 yards, you literally on the dial will go to 4.5. That creates that elevation lift for you. And then the only thing that you have to do as a shooter is learn how to handle the wind. Unfortunately, we can't control what the good Lord does with Mother Nature every day, but we can definitely get the up and down or the elevation component taken care of for you. So when the students come and they take the class, the idea is that they bring their rifle package in. We do about 2 hours of classroom instruction. We actually do some in-classroom drills. We talk about bench control with the rifle to try to get a very accurate 100-yard zero. We talk about trigger press, what it takes to actually drive the actions and control recoil when you're driving or steering that rifle. And we put all that together, and then we go down and we actually get active range time. So when you purchase the package, we ask that you bring a couple boxes of ammo, because what we're going to go through and do for you is we're going to let you sit down with Aaron, myself, maybe even a couple pro staff members from Leupold, and we're going to sit there and actually monitor you as you establish that 100-yard zero. The cool thing about Copendero is we're going to go through and offer this course about August 4th, I think is what we decided. The neat thing about it is it's weather controlled. You guys have air conditioning, so we don't have to worry about Houston weather. Wind is not going to be a factor that day. Lighting is not going to be a factor that day. You guys have a state-of-the-art facility downstairs. So we'll establish that 100-yard zero, and then with that second box of ammo, we'll actually have Garmin chronographs on site. And the idea of the chronograph is the student will take and run 10 shells across the chronograph. They'll shoot 10 times, and then we're going to come up with an average velocity. From that average velocity, from your weapon system, we'll have a sheet with all the factors, ballistic coefficient of the bullet, the weight of the bullet that you're shooting, the caliber of the cartridge that you're running, and you'll be able to go through and apply at Leupold for what they call a custom dial. When you purchase a Leupold scope that comes with a custom dial system, you get one free turret to start with. And when you go through and you give us all the specs, that dial will come back and all the information will be listed here. So when you go through and sight your rifle in, literally all you have to do is take the Allen wrench that's given by Leupold for your appropriate scope. You'll simply take that dial off. It won't change the zero of your rifle at all. You simply put this one on, and now you have a custom dial system in yardage for your particular application. If you choose to get a second dial, You can go through. I've got some customers, here in South Texas, we have a lot of guys that have big time deer leases, right? But then a couple of times a year, they'll go out to, say, Colorado or Wyoming, and now they're hunting at 10,000 feet of elevation. You can go through, it's about an $85 charge, and you can cut a second CDS dial for your changes in atmospherics when you go out west. And again, that won't change the zero of your rifle either. It's simply the matter of changing out the dial. And you won't get them confused, because we actually go through and list the temperature and elevation and all the criteria that you give us. It will actually be laser etched onto your dial all at once. And literally with the Allen wrench, I'll show you on, we have the new Mark IV here. Whoops, this wrench won't fit the Mark IV. We'll grab the Mark V real quick. Literally, it takes seconds. We call it, it's kind of like a country song, 60 seconds in an Allen wrench. It takes 2 seconds to loosen up the screws, pull the dial off. This internal turret will not move. You can't bump it, look at it difficult, all that kind of scenario, so you don't have to worry about your zero changing. You simply take the dial, put it back on. It's hard to see on the camera, but we have one of the most intuitive zero stops on the market. This pin right here simply falls right back in the original hole after you sight your rifle in. You put 5 inch-pounds of torque on these screws, just a simple flex of the Allen wrench on both screws, and you're right back to where you started. You're right back with now your custom dial system, and your zero of your rifle is maintained. So in the class, we're going to go through and create all this data for you. We're going to talk about the advantage of the range-finding binocular, the advantage of what's available out there now in the handheld rangefinder. Leupold came out with a new rangefinder this year that actually Bluetooths to your cell phone. If you go out west, let's say, and you see an elk herd that's maybe 2,000 yards off, that the rangefinder is called the RX 5000. It actually will range that far. It will get trees to 5,000 yards. A little bit long for a shot with a precision rifle, right? But the idea of it is you can range those animals, and then that thing will drop a pin to Onyx maps on your cell phone, and you can actually see if that elk herd is still on private ground or if they're on public ground, because you'll see where they're actually located. So you can make the decision as to whether or not, hey, is it worth it to trek 2,000 yards over there to see if we can actually get a shot on one of those elk standing over there. The same thing in South Texas. The worst thing that you could ever worry about in South Texas, right? You pull the trigger right before dark, you hit that deer and you hit it, and it runs off into the brush, right? So you're dealing with rattlesnakes, scorpions, all that fun stuff that Texas has. When you take that last range finding measurement on that deer, it will drop a pin straight to your cell phone. So instead of worrying about, hey, I saw the deer, it was standing over by that tree and then it busted off into the brush, when you get over in the dark, it gets very hard to find that tree. So you really don't have to worry about it. You'll just go through and follow the pin on the cell phone, and hopefully from there, you'll be able to find an entry trail into where that deer went into the brush, and you could go through and do your tracking job after that.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to put all that together for you in the class. It's a full day event usually. We try to answer as many questions as we can on bullet selection, cartridge selection, all that fun stuff, and put it all together for you in a simple shooting application called the CDS dial.
Awesome. Sounds like a steal.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey Aaron, can you run over some specs on the rifle for us that we're going to be offering in the package?
Sure, Cam. We're going to be focusing on the Springfield Armory Waypoint. Waypoint was released in 2020. The heart of the Waypoint is the action. It's a Remington 700 footprint action that has a lot of custom action features at a production gun price. It's wire EDM cut raceways, so your bolt travel is always going to be very smooth. It's got a one-piece fluted and nitrided bolt. Comes with a Trigger Tech trigger that's adjustable down to a couple pounds. AG Composites builds our stocks. It's a hand-laid carbon fiber stocks, very lightweight, very rigid. It's also got QD cups built into the stock, and then the barrel. Our carbon fiber barrels are made by BSF, and they shoot incredibly well. All of our guns come with a 3/4 MOA accuracy guarantee, but virtually every one that I've shot has shot better than that. The package that we're going to be offering that gets you a spot in the class will be any one of the Springfield Armory Waypoints or Redline rifles, set of Leupold rings, and any of the CDS Leupold scopes, so the VX3 HD, VX5 HD, or VX6 HD, along with 2 boxes of ammunition.
How many different calibers does rifle offer in?
Great question. So we actually just released 6 new long action calibers to go with the 4 short action calibers we had before, so 10 calibers total are available on the Waypoint. One other thing that I wanted to mention is Springfield's running a what we call a Gear Up promo through the end of 2024 on the Waypoint and Redline rifles. If you buy any Waypoint or Redline rifle, you get a free Model 2020 rimfire rifle to go along with it.
That's awesome. So buy a rifle and a scope package, get a free rifle on top of that for in 22. Then you also get to get in our free long range hunting class. If you want any details on our class, feel free to go to our website, copendero.com. We're going to have all the specs for the rifle packages with scopes and different scope options for those, and the date on there as well.